much different is Ohio State's offense than what Minnesota threw at you guys on Saturday?
They're a little bit more spread out. You know, they still have a physical mentality that they utilize, but they just do it a different way. You know, they're going to try to, spread you out a little bit more where you know exactly what you were going to get from Minnesota. These guys aren't going to show their hands quite as much, but nevertheless, they're still a team that's, prides itself on being able to run the ball.
Do you think it was easier because you kind of knew what Minnesota was going to
No, I wouldn't say easier, because again, I think Minnesota has a really good offensive line, and like I said, I think the running back will end up playing on Sunday. So, no, I wouldn't use the word easier. It's just different.
Still what you thought? Was the D-line key to all of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jihad played well. Tice did a good job. Chunky did a good job. I mean, all those guys just did what you would hope they would do all year. If they continue to play like that, great things will happen.
What did they do different?
They just strained, they didn't get knocked off the ball, and if they did, they got up and ran and got right back in their gap. They just did some things that we just didn't get dominated up front, to be quite honest, which we won our up front battles, and if you can win up front, it allows the linebackers to, get downhill a lot better, and if the linebackers are flowing, it frees it up for the safety. So all that stuff goes hand in hand, and they did that Saturday.
And based on what we saw, I mean, to win a physical battle 3 of the 4 quarters,
Yep.
It's kind of a big surprise, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we thought they had it in them. We've been challenging them every week, and they stepped up. I couldn't be more proud of those guys.
How good was Ernest Saturday?
He was really good. His name got called. Well, they went after him a few times with some different pass plays, and I think that really got him into the flow of the game. And he made a couple plays early, and he really was a playmaker we needed. You needed a guy to make some plays, and he actually ended up making quite a few of them for us.
Is he an energy guy, a vocal guy for you?
Yeah, and he's been that all year. He's always been kind of the pulse of the team, in terms of our defense, getting them going, getting them juiced up. But this is probably the first game that he really had a chance to, make some significant plays that, obviously led to some of the big plays that we had.
He looks like he'd be kind of the perfect guy for that hybrid position, sort of. Is that kind of right? Is he about what you're looking for in that position?
Yeah.
His skills and his body.
Definitely his skills, what he brings, because he's able to cover a little bit, but he's also big enough to, be able to come off the edge and make some plays. It's kind of hard in this conference just because, again, so many people try to get big on you, so sometimes, he has to play a little bit softer than, maybe what you would want, just because of the nature of his, size. But I think when he makes up in, his lack of size, he makes up with just his sheer ability and his want to.
What stands out about Ohio State's offensive line?
Just athleticism. I mean, they're not real, experienced in terms of what we have seen from them in the last couple of years. But what are they? 4 or 5-star guys probably across the line. So they're athletic. They're big and they play great together. In unison. They don't seem to make a lot of mistakes.
Ernest said after the game that he, I think, told you or one of the coaches that if his number was called, he'd be able to get to the ball. Is that right? Or you remember hearing him harp on that a little?
Yeah. He said, he hadn't really got tested in terms of guys throwing at him or, trying to isolate him in some one-on-one situations. So they tried him a few times, and he was able to answer the bell. So I was proud of him, and then we called a couple more run pressures and blitz pressures for him, and he got a chance to really showcase his skills.